My name is Suyi. I'm an orphan, and honestly, I'm not even from this world. I was reborn here 18 years ago. I kept my memories from my past life, but that's all I got. No magic powers, no special system. Just me and my looks. Today was Lord's Day. Every 18-year-old in the world had to step into a magic array and enter a place called the Eternal World. That's where we'd become lords, building territories, raising armies, surviving. Our teachers spent 3 years preparing us for this moment. My homeroom teacher, Miss Tang Lon Lon, gave us one last speech. She told us to survive the first 30 days no matter what, build up our land and troops, and not do anything stupid. Simple enough advice. When my turn came, I stepped into the array. Light wrapped around me, and I disappeared. I woke up standing on a grassy field. Not bad, could have been a swamp or a desert. Luck plays a big role in where you start, and grassland is decent. The world system welcomed me and told me my talent had awakened. Every new lord gets one, and mine turned out to be something called Supreme Ruler, a unique level talent. The first trait, Echo of Fortune, meant that whenever my lord's heart upgraded, the options would always be gold rank or higher. Basically, I'd always get top-tier choices. I couldn't believe it. After 18 years of being ordinary, fate finally smiled at me. I opened my beginner's gift pack and got a Heart of the Lord crystal, a random barracks box, and 100 gold. I bound the crystal right away. It sank into my body and left a diamond mark on my wrist. Then came the moment of truth, choosing my first trait. 3 options floated in front of me, 2 gold, 1 red. The first gold trait was Blessing of Life. My troops would fully heal every day and could cheat death once daily. Incredible. The second gold trait was Gift of the Outer God. It would make my army evolve in strange ways, but also drive them toward madness and chaos. Powerful, sure, but way too dangerous. Mysterious gods whispering in your soldiers' ears? No thanks. The red trait was called Divine Evolution. My heart was pounding. The gears of fate were finally turning in my favor, and I still had one more option to read. I took a deep breath and looked at the last option, the red one. Divine Evolution. It was a barracks trait that let my barracks evolve to divine level. But the best part? All my troops would have permanent, absolute loyalty. No matter what, they'd never betray me. That mattered more than people think. Troops in this world aren't mindless robots. They have feelings, opinions, desires. Every year, some lords get killed by their own soldiers because they couldn't keep them loyal. With this trait, I'd never have that problem. The golden blessing of life was tempting, but the red trait had no ceiling. I made my choice. Bind. Divine Evolution. My lord's heart panel updated. Black iron rank, 1 star, with a red trait attached. I'd never had a start this good. After 18 years of being nobody, I finally had something incredible. Next, I pulled out the random barracks gift box. What you get is pure luck. I opened it and got a Tier 3 building called the Desecrated Chapel, a Chaos faction barracks for dark magic units. Then my Divine Evolution trait kicked in. I chose to evolve it, and the chapel lit up with black and crimson light. When it settled, it had transformed into something called the Fallen Sanctuary, a divine rank barracks. Divine, the highest rank that exists. Units go from Tier 1 through Tier 10, then Sanctuary, Legend, Epic, Mythic, Demigod, and finally Divine. Nobody in the world had ever seen a divine rank unit before. The barracks could recruit 10 fallen angels per day, and because of the beginner protection period, each unit only cost 1 gold coin instead of the real price, which would normally be 1,000,000. I placed the building next to my little wooden cabin. A massive black and red cathedral now towered over my sad little home. Inside the courtyard stood statues of fallen angels with all kinds of expressions: graceful, fierce, calm, greedy. The main hall had a giant 18-winged angel statue in the center, murals covering every wall, and a Gothic dome glowing with dark light. I recruited all 10 units. Black and red lights swirled in front of the statue, and 9 tall, beautiful figures appeared. They had dark violet wings and looked like goddesses, powerful and stunning. Then a rainbow pillar of light shot through the dome, and a 10th figure formed inside it. The other 9 immediately knelt before her. Before I knew what was happening, I was pulled into a warm embrace. A soft voice asked, "Are you my divine emperor?" The 9 kneeling angels spoke together. "We greet the divine emperor," I told them to rise. They stood, eyes full of devotion, but kept glancing nervously at the one still holding me. "My name is Lilith," she said softly behind me. I turned around and, well, let's just say the view was overwhelming. I looked up at her face. She was smiling warmly, her eyes full of affection, like she'd been waiting for me forever. "Lord Divine Emperor, you're just too adorable," she said, hugging me tighter like she never wanted to let go. I struggled out of Lilith's embrace, gasping for air. It was soft and nice smelling, sure, but I almost couldn't breathe. "Is Lord Divine Emperor unhappy with me?" she asked with a sad look on her face. Now I could actually see her clearly. She was like a goddess from a myth. I'm 1.85 meters tall, and I barely reached her chest. She was tall but perfectly proportioned, with a beautiful face, long legs, black and purple wings, and a flowing black dress. Stunning didn't even begin to cover it. She kept teasing me, but I pushed past it and checked her status panel. Lilith was a hero unit, a fallen angel of 7 sins. Her talent was 7 deadly sins. She carried a divine weapon called the Scythe of 7 Sins, and her potential was listed as Origin. I didn't even know that rank existed. The unit levels I knew went up to God, Black Iron, Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, Diamond, Sanctuary, Legend, Epic, Mythic, Demigod, God. Origin was apparently beyond all of that. Her description said she was a miracle, a legend, one of a kind. There was never anyone like her before, and there never would be again. Then I checked the other 9. They weren't ordinary fallen angels either. They were rare variants called fallen angels of original sin. Each one represented a sin: pride, greed, desire, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth. I had 2 pride angels, 2 desire angels, and 1 of each of the rest. Every single one carried a divine weapon and had the potential to reach high God, a rank above normal gods. My common soldiers could one day surpass gods. I could barely contain my excitement. Lilith leaned close and offered to have the angels attend to me. They all looked eager to serve. I told her we'd talk about that later. She immediately turned cold toward the 9 and warned them to serve me well or face punishment. They trembled and obeyed without question. Lilith's bloodline and power made it impossible for them to resist her. I told Lilith to ease up, and we headed outside. Before I could react, she scooped me up and carried me out like it was nothing. I told her not to do that again. She cheerfully agreed, clearly not planning to listen. Outside, I looked at my territory. It was small, about 1 kilometer wide, with nothing but my beat-up wooden cabin and the massive cathedral. Poor and empty. I had 30 days. I needed a plan. My priority was clear: upgrade the barracks first. Right now I could only recruit 10 units a day, which wasn't nearly enough. After that, I'd upgrade the Lord's Heart. Because of my Echo of Fortune trait, every upgrade would give me gold rank options, or better. That was way too valuable to ignore. Territory expansion could wait. Most lords would focus on expanding their land first, but I wasn't most lords. The Lord's Heart was my real advantage, and I planned to squeeze every drop of power out of it. I opened my territory panel. My land was called Unnamed, Level 1, 1,000 meters across, with nothing but my broken cabin and the fallen sanctuary. The warehouse was empty. I was completely broke. I named my territory Supreme Heaven, fitting for my talent. My personal panel showed me at Black Iron 1-star with 90 gold coins left. I had 2 Lord abilities: Domination, which let me shape my territory however I wanted, and Decomposition, which let me break down defeated monsters for resources. I could share that power with my troops if I chose to. Then the system asked if I wanted to start something called the Void Trial. It was a daily challenge: fight enemies, earn resources. You could only do it once a day, and skipping it meant losing that day's rewards forever. I asked Lilith if everyone was ready. She smiled and said they'd been ready for a while. The system offered 5 difficulties: Normal, Hard, Nightmare, Inferno, and Abyss. Higher difficulty meant better rewards. I looked at my squad, 10 divine rank units with god-level potential. There was no reason to hold back. Abyss, I said. The sky above my territory turned blood red. Lilith summoned her massive scythe, and the other 9 angels drew their weapons. 30 seconds later, the space around us started rippling, and swarms of little demons poured out from every direction. Abyssal imps, Tier 3 creatures, Black Iron 5-star to 8-star. For a normal new lord starting at Black Iron 1-star, this would be a death sentence. But my troops weren't normal. Lilith swung her scythe once, and black flames erupted in a wide arc. Every imp it touched shattered into pure energy that she absorbed to level up. The other 9 angels joined in, cutting through demons like they were nothing. They didn't even bother using skills, just raw strength and their weapons. This was the power of divine rank troops. No new lord had probably ever had units like these on day 1. At Abyss difficulty, the enemies don't come in waves. They pour in nonstop for a full hour. Most lords don't attempt this until at least 10 days in, after building up their forces. Doing it on the first day? Nobody would even consider it. But here I was, sitting cross-legged on the ground while my angels handled everything. I pulled up the system interface. It had modules for chat, live stream, trade, private chat, and system log. It was a funny picture, really. On one side of my territory, 10 gorgeous angels were tearing through a battlefield of chaos and fire. On the other side, I was sitting peacefully, browsing menus like nothing was happening. I checked the system panel. Everything worked except the trade module, which was locked for the entire 30-day beginner period. That rule existed to keep things fair. Otherwise, lords from powerful families would just buy their way to the top. Some of those families even had actual gods backing them. Without the trade lock, regular people like me wouldn't stand a chance. I opened the chat channel to see what other new lords were saying. One guy was bragging about getting tier 7 wyverns, but others quickly pointed out how expensive they are to feed. Someone else was complaining about getting a farmland barracks that only recruited farmers weaker than himself. Typical first-day chaos. Then I checked the live broadcast module. New lords couldn't leave the eternal world for 30 days, so streams were meant for entertainment and learning, but you had to pay. I clicked on the most popular one. Some female lord from the Hans Cat Kingdom was streaming with her goblin troops. It was eye-catching, but the free preview cut off fast. 1 gold coin per hour to keep watching. I closed it immediately. 1 gold coin might buy other lords a couple of weak soldiers, but for me, that same coin could recruit a divine-level fallen angel. No way I was wasting money on entertainment. I turned back to the battlefield just as Lilith and the others were finishing up. Demons had been flooding in for a full hour, and treasure chests were scattered across the ground. The system announced the results. 0 losses, 1,000 enemies killed, SSS rating. I got an SSS level Abyss difficulty treasure chest as the final reward. Lilith appeared in front of me, looking for praise. I told her she did great and to rest. She asked how I'd reward her. I pretended not to hear that. I collected all the dropped chests using my lord's authority, 400 iron-level Abyss treasure chests total. Then I dismantled the 1,000 imp corpses. The ratio was 10-1, giving me 100 origin crystals. I opened all 400 chests at once. The rewards poured in, 20,000 gold coins and 2,000 origin crystals. Then my smile disappeared. No wood, no stone, no basic resource cards at all. It hit me. I'd cleared Abyss difficulty on day 1. The rewards were scaled to the challenge. Chests at this level weren't going to hand out cheap materials like lumber and rocks. That stuff was beneath Abyss tier loot. Problem was, I actually needed those basic materials. My territory was pure grassland. No forests, no mines, nothing to harvest. I'd have to buy everything. Still, 20,000 gold and 2,000 crystals on the first day was insane. Most lords would be thrilled to earn 100 gold from a normal trial. I looked at the final chest, the big one, the SSS-rated reward from completing the whole trial. The regular chests came from killing monsters, but this one was special. Anything could be inside, and the rewards depended on difficulty and score. Mine were both maxed out. I opened the SSS-level chest, and my jaw nearly hit the floor. 10 high-grade meat resource cards, each one holding 1,000 tons of premium meat, 1,000 origin crystals, 10,000 gold coins, and then the real prizes, 2 wonder buildings. Wonders were legendary among lords. They came in 7 ranks: basic, intermediate, advanced, rare, treasure, divine, and unique. Most lords would be lucky to own even one basic wonder in their entire life. I just got an advanced one and a unique one in the same chest. The first was the innate spirit source lake. I could set its size anywhere from 100 meters to 100 kilometers wide. It gathered spiritual energy endlessly and never dried up. Most importantly, my troops could soak in it to grow stronger. That solved a huge problem. Normally, the only way to level up troops was through combat. Every new recruit started at Black Iron 1-star, no matter their rank, so training them took time and resources. With this lake, I had a passive way to strengthen my army. The second wonder was the Spring of Chaos, unique rank. It had 6 traits, and every single one was incredible. The water could heal any injury or curse. Plants and animals in my territory might evolve on their own. My land would never suffer natural disasters. My troops would take 99% less elemental damage while inside my territory. And the best part, it could devour other wonders and absorb their traits. That meant it could only get stronger over time. I placed both wonders right away. A crystal-clear lake appeared in my territory, full of energy. Then a jade fountain materialized beside my cabin, glowing faintly with chaotic light. I guided the spring water into the lake, and the whole territory took on a mysterious, renewed feeling. Lilith asked if they could go swimming. I told her, of course, the lake was built for them. The 9 angels headed off to bathe, happy to wash off the sweat and blood from the fight. Lilith stayed with me. She asked if I was going to reward her. I told her we'd talk about rewards tonight and led her straight to the fallen sanctuary. I had 3,100 origin crystals now, and upgrading the barracks cost 100. No reason to wait. Every day in the beginner stage mattered. I upgraded the fallen sanctuary to level 2. The fallen sanctuary didn't look much different after upgrading, but the stats changed. Daily recruitment went from 10 to 20. The next upgrade would cost 1,000 origin crystals, 10,000 gold coins, and some special material called a dark seed. Expensive, but that was the price of divine rank troops. I recruited 10 more angels right away. Black and red mist filled the hall, and 10 new fallen angels of sin appeared, kneeling before me. All the same type as Lilith. Since she was my only hero unit, the barracks could only produce her kind. No new hero appeared either, which was expected. Heroes were rare. I put Lilith in charge of them and sent everyone off to join the others at the lake. Then I sat in the center of the hall and upgraded my lord's heart. It cost 100 crystals, and a warm energy spread from my wrist through my entire body. I could feel myself getting stronger, and for the first time, spiritual energy flowed inside me. I'd officially become a real lord. My lord's heart was now Black Iron 2-star. Time to pick a new trait. 3 options appeared, 2 red, 1 gold. Thanks to my Echo of Fortune talent, I always got top-tier choices. The first red trait was Supreme Order. It would double the strength of all Order faction troops, raise their potential by 2 levels, and lock loyalty at 100. Powerful, but it would chain me to the Order faction only. I didn't want that. My troops were all loyal to me regardless of faction, so I didn't need faction restrictions. The second red trait was Supreme Chaos. Basically the same thing, but for chaos units. Same problem. Locking into one faction meant limiting my future options. The gold trait was Crystal Palace. My barracks would only recruit female units, but all female units would get double power and their level cap would go up by 1. The note said something cheeky about hoping I could handle it. I stared at my options. The 2 red traits were stronger on paper, but they'd box me into a single faction forever. I refused to be tied down like that. I wanted the freedom to recruit from any faction. Crystal Palace only restricted gender, not faction. And the power boost was identical, 100%. The only downside was 1 less level of potential increase compared to the red traits. Plus, honestly, a full army of powerful warrior women didn't sound like a bad deal at all. There really wasn't much of a choice. Bind trait, Crystal Palace. I made my choice. Over by the lake, Lilith seemed to sense something. She noticed the potential increase in the angels. But the others were too busy splashing around to feel it. I looked at my remaining crystals, 2,900. Part of me wanted to keep upgrading, but I held back. There was a good reason. In this world, there's something called rank suppression. If my lord's heart level went up too fast, the void trial difficulty would rise with it. Right now, Lilith and the others were only Black Iron 3-star. If bronze rank enemies showed up in the trial, my troops would only deal half damage to them. That's how rank suppression works. A Black Iron unit can only hit a bronze unit for 50% damage at most. It doesn't go away until you reach diamond rank. Every teacher back in school drilled this into us. Don't level up your lord's heart too quickly. Raise your troops first, then upgrade. I only had 20 units. If something went wrong against bronze enemies with just 20 soldiers, it'd be a disaster. No need to take stupid risks. One upgrade per day was already faster than almost every other new lord out there. Source crystals were precious too. Normal void trials didn't even drop them. You had to clear nightmare difficulty or higher, and even then they only came from treasure chests. I opened the chat channel to see what people were saying. Most lords were still figuring out the basics. Some were asking about the void trial. Others were warning not to pick anything above normal difficulty. One person bragged about having tier 10 troops and asked what difficulty to pick. Someone jokingly told him to go abyss mode, and chaos followed. I posted my own message under the name, Traveler from Another World. No way I was using my real name. I was buying dark seeds, a rare material I needed to upgrade my barracks to level 3. I spammed the message a few times, hoping someone out there had one and was willing to trade. The trade market was sealed, but private deals between beginner lords were allowed. That was the Eternal World's way of giving new lords a survival lifeline. Some people had great territory but weak troops, while others got items they couldn't use. Private trading let everyone help each other out. I was also waiting for merchant lords to appear. Every generation of new lords produced a few, people with trading talents or connections to big guilds. They usually showed up around day 3. Once they did, finding materials would be much easier. I'd just tell them what I needed, pay a little extra, and let them handle the searching. For someone with resources like me, anything money could solve wasn't really a problem. What mattered most was not wasting time. Somewhere out there, a lord named Yishio was watching my messages in the chat. Turns out he was reborn too. He had a unique talent called rebirth that let him come back to life with memories of his previous 10 years as a lord. He recognized my username, Traveler from Another World, and remembered me from his past life. Apparently, the old me had been some famous arms dealer who sold technology weapons and became the top new lord of that generation. Now Yishio was planning to steal opportunities that were originally mine and maybe even make me his subordinate. He had tier 10 troops called Dragon Slayer warriors and a king-level talent. He was pretty confident about beating me this time around. I had no idea about any of this. I just sneezed. Lilith immediately offered to warm me up. I told her to just cook some meat instead. I was hungry. She looked a little disappointed, but got to it. I lay on the grass by the spirit lake, enjoying the view. 20 beautiful fallen angels surrounded me, all of them stunning. Thanks to the Crystal Palace trait, Lilith's potential had jumped from origin to something even higher called creation, and the regular angels had gone up to main god rank. Not bad at all. Night came. I'd gotten plenty of private messages during the day, mostly people sharing livestream links. I watched a few for free out of curiosity, some truly bizarre creatures and entertainment out there. Lords had wild imaginations. I decided to sleep at the Fallen Sanctuary since my lord's cabin was basically a shack. Just as I was about to rest, Lilith pulled me into her arms and said it was time for my reward. Let's just say I didn't sleep well that night. The next morning I woke up sore everywhere. Lilith helped me get dressed, and I went straight to recruiting. 20 new fallen angels of sin appeared, knelt, and pledged their loyalty. I handed them off to Lilith and dragged myself outside. My back was killing me. The strength gap between us was just too big. I stumbled over to the Chaos Spring and drank some water. Sweet, refreshing, and my soreness vanished instantly. The spring that could heal any wound or curse in the world. And here I was using it as a morning pick-me-up. If other lords knew, they'd probably lose their minds. I checked my private messages and found a surprise. A merchant lord named Little Merchant had already sent me a friend request. I'd expected them to show up around day 3, but this was only day 2. That was good news. I accepted the request right away. The merchant girl, Lin Xiao, was having a rough time. Most new lords who messaged her were freeloaders trying to borrow things for free. So when I added her as a friend, she got excited. Someone actually looking to buy something real. She messaged me immediately, offering wood, stone, gold, crystals, whatever I needed. I told her what I was after. A dark seed and any barracks she could find, any faction, any level. She called me a super big client and promised to start searching right away. She said the dark seed might come through today, but a barracks would be harder. I figured she had to be from a major trading guild. No ordinary merchant lord could build a network this fast on day 2. She must have had connections before even entering the eternal world, probably an heir to some big guild. But it didn't really matter to me. As long as she could find what I needed, I was happy. I called Lilith over and told her to gather everyone. Time for the second day's void trial. 40 fallen angels of sin assembled in the sky above my territory. A formation of dark red figures with wings spread wide. I chose Abyss difficulty again. This time, the enemies were Tier 4 Abyss Lesser Demons, Black Iron 9-star. Stronger and more numerous than yesterday's imps. I was glad I hadn't upgraded my Lord's heart further. If bronze-level monsters had shown up, it could have been a real problem. Lilith was only Black Iron 4-star, and the newest recruits were still at 1-star. But even with the level gap, my angels crushed them. Lilith dove into the demon horde like a meteor, scattering bodies everywhere. The others followed, raining down from the sky in streaks of light. I watched the new recruits closely. Even they handled the 9-star demons without trouble. Divine rank units were just built different. Lilith's level climbed fast. She went up a star in just 10 minutes. The newer angels leveled even faster, catching up to the first batch in the same time. As the hour went on, my territory turned into a battlefield. Demon corpses piled into small hills, blood covered the ground, and treasure chests floated everywhere, waiting for me to collect them. The trial ended. 0 losses, 5,000 enemies killed, SSS rating again. Yesterday, it was only 1,000 demons. Today, it was 5,000, and they were stronger too. That's how Abyss difficulty works. It scales up hard every time you upgrade your Lord's heart. I dismantled all the corpses and got 500 origin crystals. Lilith and the others flew down covered in blood, so I sent them to wash up at the lake. After a full hour of fighting, Lilith had reached Black Iron 7-star, and the rest had advanced too. Still, leveling divine units was painfully slow compared to normal troops. I gathered the 800 treasure chests the monsters had dropped and opened them all. 40,000 gold coins and 4,000 origin crystals. A fortune for anyone else, but I had nowhere to spend most of it right now. Then came the big one, the SSS-rated final chest. I opened it and got 3 things. First, a Tier 1 barracks called Machine Gun Camp. Honestly, it was pretty weak. Machine gun soldiers were the cheapest, lowest quality units in the game. 2,000 recruits a day, but they were basically cannon fodder. They couldn't mine, couldn't farm, and cost resources just to feed. Even farmers were more useful. But I had Divine Evolution. I upgraded it, and the basic machine gun camp transformed into a divine-level barracks called Supreme Agreement. It was Order faction, sci-fi styled, and could recruit all types of technological units. The description was wild. Something about burning the starry sea and humanity being supreme. It reminded me of something called the Human Alliance, which made me a little suspicious. I placed it next to my cabin. Now I had the dark Gothic Fallen Sanctuary on one side, and a futuristic tech tower on the other. Quite a contrast. Lilith showed up with her hair still wet, and immediately gave the new building a cold look. She was Chaos faction, the tech tower was Order. Those two factions were like fire and water. She didn't like her new companions at all. The second and third rewards were wonders. A rare level 1 called Wine Pool and Meat Forest, and another unique wonder called Heroic Spirit Hall. That made 4 wonders total in just 2 days. The beginner stage really did reward the brave. No wonder lords always tried Abyss difficulty in their final days, even knowing how brutal it was. Lilith didn't like the new barracks. She was pure chaos, born evil, like darkness itself. The Supreme Agreement was pure order, the opposite of everything she stood for. With any other lord, she would have rebelled the moment it appeared. But my troops had absolute loyalty. Lilith's hostility was aimed at the building, not at me. I told her straight, everyone under my command was someone I trusted completely. I wouldn't force them to be friends, but they couldn't be enemies either. She went quiet for a moment, then smiled and said she understood. She even said she wanted to meet her new sisters. I upgraded the Supreme Agreement to level 2 using 100 origin crystals. Daily recruitment went up to 20. The next upgrade would need 1,000 crystals, 10,000 gold, and a special material called a Seed of Technology. Same pattern as the Fallen Sanctuary. Then I recruited my first batch of tech soldiers. The glowing sphere in the center of the hall lit up, and images of human history flashed through it. Fire, machines, airplanes, starships, Dimensional portals, void engines. When the light faded, 20 figures stood before me. The leader was